On behalf of everyone at Allied Building Products, drivers, start your Mazda engines.
Call to fire the engine, and we are set to go. We'll send it back upstairs to Michael Young.
Well, thank you, Rob Howden. The excitement in the air. A chilly morning, but an exciting morning as we get ready for race number 1. The USF 2000 Championship is about to begin. Jose Sierra again on the pole. To his outside, Kyle Kirkwood. Both F4 champions. Kyle here in the United States. Jose in Europe. Two very accomplished drivers, their very first year here in the USF 2000 Series. This, the very first rung of the Mazda Road to Indy ladder. These young drivers getting their start. An opportunity to get a championship, to move on to the Pro Mazda Series, then to Indy Lights, the ultimate goal of the Verizon IndyCar Series. First time out, and this is a very tricky circuit, especially for 25 machines. Getting down into turn number 1 will be the key. You'll see 3, 4 wide at some points, these cars, as they make their way down into turn 1. The key is getting through cleanly, and that's sometimes where we have problems. Drivers trying to make up as many spots as they can in this very first turn, and that's where mistakes can potentially happen. They then have to thin out into single file into turns 2 and 3. But it'll be very, very busy. Opening lap here on the streets of St. Petersburg. We welcome you, race fans. Day number 2 of the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Jose Sierra, Kyle Kirkwood again on the front row. Kalen Frederick and Igor Fraga make up row number 2. Zach Holden and Alex Barron is our pole sitter for race number 2, which will happen tomorrow. Is on the outside of row number 3. We're joined in the public address booth momentarily by Rob Howden, who just sprinted. And this is where Rob really earns his money. At least a 400-yard dash in less than 2.5 minutes. We'll let Rob catch his breath as we watch the field make their way through turns 4, 5. And now a look at turn number 6 and 7. That's a shot back at turn number 7. They go through 8 and 9. So the field beginning to make their way through the final portion as they line up side by side. 13 rows make up this USF 2000 field as we await the rest of the field to catch the tail end, and we make our way down as a pace car starts to make its way off the track. The beginning of the 2018 USF 2000 field and season about to get underway.
Michael, thank you so much, and here they come. Sierra and Kirkwood on the front row, Frederick and Fraga on row 2. Turn 1, often the site of chaos. Will we see it today here to start the 2018 season? We are green, green, green. Sierra, Kirkwood sliding into position. Here they come down now to turn number 1. It's very slippery on the inside of the racetrack. Will they be smart coming through that corner? Thus far, no. One driver around, that's Igor Fraga, and the number 91 goes around, as does the number 90. Couple of exclusive Autosport drivers around. 2 drivers around. And also, I think one of the Newman Walks Racing drivers involved as well. That is, I believe, the number 90 of Manuel Cabrera. I know it was the 91. He's going to high center himself up there. Oh, Fraga, not a good job there. Pull it backwards.
Here's a replay of it, Rob, as we make our way down in turn number 1. Kyle Kirkwood able to get around.
Someone got into the back. I want to say the number 10 potentially of Zach Holden getting into the back of Igor Fraga in the number 91, turning him around in that corner. The number 90 of Cabrera, I think, probably locked up the brakes. Here we go. The AMR safety crew out there to take care of the number 38 of Oscar De La Zuriaga. He has had nowhere to go. He was trying to go around the outside. And
he chose wisely, thought there might be a little room, and then the 90 backed in, and there was nowhere for him to go.
Just wing damage for De La Zuriaga. But, oh, no.
Cabrera
Igor
out of the car.
That's Fraga, I think.
Fraga?
Oh, no, that's Cabrera,
It is Cabrera, yeah.
That's tough for Manuel Cabrera, young driver out of Mexico. Very quick. The exclusive Autosport car already off. They're going to try to get the car of De La Zuriaga refired. He'll be able to get back around. Ideally, that wing will stay there. They'll put a new wing on the car of De La Zuriaga. You can see it just hanging there, though. So precarious that it could get caught up under the tire. But they'll get a new wing on that, and you guarantee that the crew at Newman Walks Racing are pulling a wing out already for De La Zuriaga.
We did not get a chance to see the pass in turn one, but Kyle Kirkwood moved from the inside to the outside of the pole sitter. Jose Sierra was able to get around him on an outside pass, a great pass, but then Igor Fraga right behind him. That's where all the chaos and, as you said, probably contact from the rear. Nothing Fraga could do as he checked up. Someone got into him from behind, and that just stacked the field up in turn one.
I had said we get chaos in turn one almost every time. These guys overcook it, get too deep on the brakes. It's pretty slippery down there. And I know that one of the Verizon IndyCar Series drivers was talking about the fact that when you went in there, I think it might have been Gabby Chavez or Spencer Pigot, when you get in there, it's so slippery on the inside. Of course, they paint those lines for the airport, and when you roll in there and try to get on the brakes, you go from asphalt onto that painted surface, and the car, it just wants to skid across that painted surface. You have to be very, very gentle and very deliberate coming into the braking zone.
And the other thing, especially at the start of a race like this, you'll have drivers fanning to the outside on the runway, so there's a lot of debris out there that's never been picked up before, so they'll carry that. And there's just so much that can go wrong. They say you can't win a championship or win a race on the very first turn, but you certainly can lose it. But I thought the guys did a really good job. Just that slight contact got Fraga around, and that caused all the chaos.
It wasn't a big dive bomb move to the inside of the racetrack where there's absolutely no rubber. They'll dive to the inside line thinking they're going to be clean, but there's nothing down there.
Right.
It looked to me like just someone got a little deep on the brakes and got into the back of Fraga. And the thing is, already Igor was turning in already. The car was already transitioning over to the left side, and the car was obviously starting to rotate already to get around the corner. A slight tap breaks loose that traction, and around he went. And I'm happy that Fraga at least able to continue. I think it was the 10 of Zach Holden potentially that got into the back of him based on the replay that we got, Michael. I feel really bad for Manuel Cabrera. No fault of his own, locked the brakes up coming in to try to get out of the issue. And again, De La Zuriaga as well, just trying to get around the outside, just made light contact with the wall.
And as you said, that turn, it was just a lazy spin. It's just that half rotation of the car stepping back. He was basically facing back the direction down the front straightaway, so didn't even get all the way around. Just a slight tap is all it really takes.
Let's update a little bit on Cabrera. We thought it might have been just a potential light spin, but they picked him up on the wrecker and bringing him in. I'm thinking it's going to be real suspension damage for Cabrera. I think someone might have gotten to the back of him because a brief look there as they were pulling him off, I think it looked like right rear.
So that said, potential damage to another car out there because the other two that we saw have driven away. So
yeah, it could be potential front. That would be probably left front damage on another car. It wasn't obviously De La Zuriaga. He just went around the outside and made light contact with the wall with the left end plate of the wing, knocked it essentially off, and they'll get that replaced. I believe.
Looking at that, just to interrupt you, my apologies. Kalen Frederick dropping all the way down, and he's down into the pit lane right now. So Kalen Frederick starting on the inside of row number 2. Potentially that was where the contact happened because Kalen Frederick sits on pit lane.
Indeed, that would have been an issue there. We talked about how it happened right up front. Igor Fraga started in that 4th position. Frederick's in 3rd. If he did get looped around, potentially got into the side of Frederick as well. Always a tough way to start. We always hope everyone can get through the opening corner and then go racing, because right now they're just losing valuable lap time. They need time on this racetrack. They need experience. That's what we want out of USF 2000. We want them to be able to be on track, get lots of lap time in, and really start to learn. I'm not sure if we're going to green this time by. I believe we are. Looking down at Paul Blevin in the starter stand. I think we're going to go back to green. Indeed, we are. We're back racing. Green, green, green for USF 2000. Kirkwood jumps out to a good lead. Sierra in 2nd. Alex Barron 3rd. Darren Keene now up to the 4th spot. Jamie Caroline 5th. Corey Enders 6th. Lucas Cole in 7th. 8th is Calvin Ming. 9th, Colin Kaminsky. And in 10th is Julian Vanderwatt. Good start for David Osborne. Started 20th, Michael, up into the 12th position for Newman Walks Racing.
Looks like potentially a pass down there in turn number 1 for Lucas Cole. Nice pass for him.
Kalen Frederick well back, just coming across the line now. He's 25 seconds behind the leaders, 16 seconds behind the back of the pack. It's going to be tough for Frederick to make up any time. And I keep telling people about St. Petersburg. If you win here, it doesn't mean you're going to win the championship. You look at the last 3 years here in this category. We've had 5 different winners. Only one has gone on to win the championship, and that was Oliver Askew last year. You just can't have a bad DNF, and that's going to be tough right now for Kalen Frederick.
It does indeed look like Lucas Cole potentially got around Corey Enders. We've got a couple of tight battles up at the front of the field as they make their way through turns 11 and 12. Kyle Kirkwood makes his way out of turn 14.
Kirkwood, the driver out of Jupiter, Florida, very good friends with last year's champion Oliver Askew. 2 drivers coming into pit lane as well. 3 drivers coming into pit lane. I don't know what's penalties. I don't know, Michael. I can't tell you. We got 3 drivers coming into pit lane. One of them, Alex Barron. The second, the number 22 of Calvin Ming. No, that's actually Lucas Cole. And the number 11 of Corey Enders. Looks like drive-through penalties. I can't tell you what it is right now. Not exactly sure what happened there in terms of the penalty. I'll see what I can do.
Lucas Cole, yes, Lucas Cole got around Corey Enders at the start. Not sure if they jumped the green flag, but 3 of the drivers with drive-through penalties, they were front runners. So he lost row number 2 at the start of this race with contact in turn number 1. Now drive-through penalties for 3 of the drivers. So Kyle Kirkwood, your leader, a 1.4 second advantage over pole sitter Jose Sierra. The field making their way through turn number 10, now through 11 and 12. 27 minutes remaining. Race number 1 of the season for the USF 2000 Series, and it looks like Kyle Kirkwood pulling out to an even bigger advantage as he makes his way out of turn number 14. Kirkwood, Jose Sierra, and Caroline running third.
I'll tell you, Michael, one thing you don't want to do, and you want to give Kyle Kirkwood, is open racetrack. This is a guy who came up through the American karting ranks. He's represented his country around the world in road tax competition. He was part of Team USA as well. Highly recognized as a talented driver. Watching the great battle further back as well. I think that's one of the BN cars. That's the BN machine, I believe. Further back in the pack, it's Russ McDonough going at it with Sabra Cook, I think. Good battling on the racetrack. The 2 Team Bennett drivers have worked their way back up to 12th and 13th. That's Sabra Cook and Michael D'Orlando. They started in 21st and 19th respectively. They've jumped up into the top 15, as has David Osborne, taking advantage of the chaos in front of him, worked his way through.
And we basically turned the entire field upside down. Some of the quickest cars, whether it be through drive-throughs or incidents or all of the back of the field, they're going to be charging through the front. So they're going to have to pick off some slower cars. It's going to be an interesting race as these laps ensue.
Kirkwood, your leader. Again, 2.1 seconds out as fast driver on the racetrack. Remember, bonus points for most last laps led, and a bonus point as well for fast lap of the race. New fast lap laid down there for Kyle Kirkwood. He's your leader. Jose Sierra in second. Jamie Caroline in third. Darren Keene fourth. Calvin Ming
Kaminsky and Vanderwatt got a great battle going down into turn 1. Vanderwatt makes a move in the inside, moving around. Nice pass for Vanderwatt over Kellen Kaminsky. So Julian Vanderwatt moving up 1 position over Colin Kaminsky. Great move down into turn number 1, and that's one of those textbook passes. Just set him up coming down that front straightaway. Had a great run, dove down and inside, move him up 1 position. That will move Vanderwatt up to the 6th position.
And the thing about that pass, it didn't really happen in turn number 1. Right. It actually happened coming onto the straightaway in turn 14. He was able to get a good run out of there. A lot of momentum tucked in behind the draft. Now, these cars don't draft like they used to, the older car. When we brought this USF 17 out last year, a lot less aero downforce, so you don't get quite the same amount of draft, but just enough still down this long. Hey, if it can land and take off an airplane, it's going to be long enough for a USF 2000 car.
Well, for Kyle Kirkwood, clear sailing thus far. That lead over 3 seconds. The battle starting to shape up a little bit with Jose Sierra and Caroline. Jamie Caroline trying to make up some ground for that 2nd position.
And he fell back a bit at the start, Michael, and I think a good run so far for Jamie. Again, the British F4 champion from last year. There's that battle further back. Mateus Solar Oval trying to work his way forward. Started dead last. And the interesting thing about Solar Oval, he started dead last. He came across the stripe way back. He held back probably 3 or 4 or 5 seconds. He wasn't going to push. He knew what was coming. He's able to see the chaos, drives to the inside. Where is he now? 16th position. That was a perfect call for a young driver. You know what? Don't race into the chaos. Let it happen. Pick your way through.
That's a great point. So Solar Oval makes his way up to the 16th position, battling with D'Orlando. Thus far, the F4 champion, Kyle Kirkwood, here looking for money, looking for a way to continue his career, able to hang with Cape Motorsports, and now able to pull away from second place Jose Sierra, and Sierra's starting to get a mirror full of Jamie Caroline. It's going to take a couple of more laps, but Caroline was with, I think, about half a second, now down to 2/10 of a second. Actually got around Jose Sierra. I'm not sure when that was. Just saw him come out of 14, so move Caroline to P2.
Well, the big thing about Jamie Caroline is that really he was not even confirmed to be here until this week. It was actually, we just found out earlier in the week that he was coming over. Obviously a huge get for the series. British F4 champion, filling that hole that we had at BN Racing. We'd actually expected it to be Zach Holden at BN Racing, so I shouldn't really say hole because we thought Holden was coming here with BN. He ends up moving to DE Force Racing as they put Jamie Caroline behind the wheel. So it's Kirkwood leading, Caroline second. We'll continue to watch the gap between first and second now. Kirkwood, last time by, fast lap, a 1:12.7. His best a 1:12.8. Jamie Caroline 1:12.8 as well, Michael. Very, very similar lap times. 3.6 seconds the advantage already.
This is the type of racing you like to see, especially in round number one. Once it gets settled in, everybody's minding their proverbial P's and Q's, not really getting too aggressive, although we'll see some aggressive driving in the back of the field with those faster cars back there. But everybody getting settled in, just getting a real feel for this first race.
I'll tell you, I think the biggest storyline right now here in USF 2000, you got to scroll to the very bottom of the grid. You've got guys that we expected to race for the championship having to get those drive-throughs. You've got Alex Barron, Lucas Cole, and Kalen Frederick, and Corey Enders all getting drive-throughs. They're currently running 19th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. That's huge for the championship implications. Also, have a look at these fast lap times. Jamie Caroline just went quickest, goes purple here on lap number 9, but he does a 1:12.753, quickest driver, but Kirkwood, a 1:12.761. He's 8 thousandths of a second off. So it's not like he's making any hay right now. Still 3 seconds the gap between first and second.
When Kyle Kirkwood came into the F4 championship last year, had done some testing which was against the F4 rules, so put him at the back of the grid, and he had all kinds of problems in round number 1 of the F4 championship. Rebounded from that. He said, I think that made me a better driver. Actually had a flawless rest of his season, coming away with the F4 championship, now making his way into this USF 2000 series in command. His lead over Jamie Caroline with just 20 minutes remaining, 5 seconds.
Let's have a look at the top 15 now as we're working through this event. Kyle Kirkwood, your leader by 4.9 seconds. Hey, what's going on? Did we just lose Caroline? What happened to Jamie Caroline?
I didn't see him.
He's just, well, on our timing and scoring.
He's just falling through the field. Yeah, he's continuing to fall through the field. We looked away from the front straightaway. We were just talking about Kyle Kirkwood and what has happened to Jamie Caroline.
We will update it actually visually when they come back around. Based on live timing, we're seeing that Jamie Caroline potentially falling down the order. Kirkwood will work his way back around. In fact, this could be him coming down pit lane right now. We have a driver entering into the pit lane. That may be Jamie Caroline. We'll have a good look to see if there's any damage to the car.
Well, it looks like it's crab walking down.
I was going to say that. It doesn't look like it's rolling cleanly. And we'll give you a full update when they come down. That's Jamie Caroline was running in second. What do you think, Michael? Looks like right rear. Yeah, the right rear white-walled on that car. Definitely crabbing down here. Man, the number 28 of Jamie Caroline back on the throttle. You can see the toe out on that right rear. So damage, I'm going to say, to either a broken front part of the rear suspension or a bent rear. He'll come into his BN Racing crew. They'll have a look at it, and they know that Jamie Caroline's day is done.
I would say, if I had to guess, it might have been in turn number 10. That left-hander, they have to swing so wide, and you get so close to that wall, it looked like the back end of that car just touched it enough to break that suspension.
Now, you know what? At speed for the right side, that's probably the place you're going to do it. You're not obviously not going to do it in 1, 2, 3. Good possibility, again, just the outside of turn number 10, trying to roll as much speed as he possibly could. He'll toss the helmet into the seat. We can see him here from the announce booth. Jamie Caroline just trying to gather in what actually just happened, running second place to kick off the season. That is tough, and this place can bite you, Michael. We've talked about it all weekend already. 0 runoff. the mistake, that margin of error is just minute. You want to go 2-3 inches from the wall. If you go less than 1, then you're in trouble. You don't want to hang it out that much.
And you have that curbing down there at 10. It's just such a tight corner. You're carrying so much speed down Bayshore. Like you said, a couple of inches, but you go over, it's going to cost you a suspension and potentially cost you a race.
Okay, let me jump in here. I was trying to give everybody the top 15. We obviously had that change. Right now, Kyle Kirkwood leading the way in the number 8. Jose Sierra in the number 12 in second. Darren Keene for Newman Watts Racing now up to third. Calvin Ming from fourth. Ming started 14th, so I'll move up to fourth is solid. Julian Vanderwatt in fifth. Colin Kaminsky in sixth spot. Kyle Dupel in seventh. Bruno Tomaselli in 8th. Check this out, Michael. Igor Fraga back up to 9th.
Zach Holden just pulled into pit lane.
10 of Zach Holden into pit lane. Didn't sound good, actually, either. Regardless, Igor Fraga back up to 9th. Russ McDonough now runs in 10th. Mateus Soler-Obo, who started dead last, now 11th. Alex Barron in 12th. Rasmus Lint in 13th. Look at Barron. He was 19th position just 4 laps ago. Alex Barron racing himself back up into 12th. Rasmus Lint in 13th. Keith Donegan in 14th. Kalen Frederick rounding out your top 15. Look at these championship contenders down the order here. We've got Frederick in 15th. Cole in 17th. We've got Holden in 20th. Enders in 22nd. Caroline 23rd. Man, a lot of drivers having trouble here in the opening round of USF 2000.
For J.B. Caroline, a mistake potentially at turn number 10, some drive-throughs. These are the things you just, if you're going to have it happen now. It's better to happen in round 1. I don't like that look. You never want it to happen.
You never want it to happen.
But if it's going to happen, better to have it happen now than at the end of the season.
If you're going to win a championship in this series, you don't have to win here. You just can't make a mistake.
That's true.
That's really what it comes down to. Kyle Kirkwood out front with the win. Stats say that he's not an odds-on favorite now to win the championship, having just won, but he'll try to follow in the footsteps of Oliver Askew, who won here in race number 2, and then went on a 5-race win streak. There's more damage just left front.
Yep.
Somebody coming in here. That might be the other BN car.
Yeah, it looked like the left rear, too. It just an odd look to that car as it came down pit lane.
Tough debut, or second year for BN Racing here to start the season. That's Russ McDonough.
Left rear's looks like it's towed out.
I think it's right front, or left front and left rear. I think you're right, Michael.
Yeah.
The entire left side of the car. And McDonough was running, I think, in 10th or 11th position. Tough one for McDonough. Man, that's shaking things up. And again, I wrote a column for my MRTI Insider blog, and I said exactly that. Stay off the wall. Finish these races. Come in here, run well, and get the heck out. You want to make sure you roll the car back to the trailer every session.
I'll say this. I was just keeping an eye. Igor Fraga is on the rear wing of Dupel and Tomaselli. There's a nice battle with the Pelfrey guys. Fraga might be able to, after the disaster that looked to be turn 1, he's made his way back to the front of the field.
And let's look at this, Michael. We're still 15 minutes remaining. Igor Fraga on a roll. Let's have a look at fast laps. Fraga just laid down a 1:13.0. He's 1.4 seconds faster than Dupel. He's a second quicker than Tomaselli, 0.2 quicker than Colin Kaminsky. He is rolling right now. We're not done yet with Igor Fraga.
It's just been a wild start to the season.
I know. We'll watch the drivers come back out. Here's Kyle Kirkwood across the line as your leader. Big gap back to Jose Sierra now, who runs in the second spot. Another big gap to Darren Keene. A good run for Darren in third. Fourth spot, Calvin Ming. Fifth is the number 80 of Julian Vanderwatt, the South African F1600 champion, having a great run. There's Colin Kaminsky in the Slick Box number 27 for DE Force Racing. Then you got Bruno Tomaselli. Then Kyle Dupel, Igor Fraga, and Alex Barron back up into the top 10. Alex Barron back to the top 10. What a run. Tremendous run for him.
We'll see if we can't keep our eye on that battle with the Pelfrey cars and Igor Fraga. That's a battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Fraga was right there on the rear wing.
He's by. He's already passed, I believe. That's him here coming through at us. Indeed, he's already by. So Igor Fraga, the Brazilian for Exclusive Autosport, now up into the 8th position, getting by Kyle Dupel. But I'll give Kyle, the rookie driver, just jumping from karts this year into cars, a top 10 would be fantastic. for the driver out of Portland, Oregon.
There's where right there. That was the battle right there. Yeah, that was the battle there. There's the one other. That was Van der Watt. Yeah, that was Van der Watt.
We got so many team cars.
Right. So there's a battle right there coming through turns 11 and 12.
Let's look as they come onto the straightaway.
Oh, Fraga's got a nice look to the inside there.
Here comes Fraga, indeed. Let's see what kind of run he's got. Igor Fraga was over a second quicker last time by. He'll get a big run down the straightaway. I don't think he's going to be close enough in the braking zone, but he'll definitely use. Look at him go deep into the braking. Has a look to the inside. He did, didn't he? He turned a little to the inside like he thought he could make that happen. I don't know.
Well, he knows he has a faster car. He's just trying to pick a spot where he can get around. It's so tight as he looks to the inside, then the outside going into turn 4.
Let me tell you something right now, Michael. When they're in karting and they're closing up on someone, they're taught the minute you get there, you got to go by quickly because the driver can go on the defense or you start running their lap times. You close up in karting, you run their lap times. You got to go by quickly. You can surprise the guy and get some side-by-side contact in the kart. You can't do that in these cars here. You got to close up. He knows he's faster. He's eaten up the gap a second a lap. He knows he's quicker than Dupal, but now he's got to get there and plan it. He's got to make sure he's right. So he's going to be right there off the wing. He's going to get all that forward bite coming out of turn 14. It'll be a turn 1 pass, I would bet, coming through here.
Boy, he's moving all around behind Dupal, letting him know that he's there. Kyle Dupal, wow, good run from Igor Fraga out of turn number 14. Here he comes, about a car length and a half gap between he and Dupal.
I'll give Dupal props. He gets through turn 14 really well. He's going to hold off Fraga again. Here's Fraga deep on the brakes. No. Tried to the inside but couldn't get the job done. Alex Barron into pit lane, and that's a left rear damage. The number 19, Alex Barron in the Swan RJB entry. Trouble for Barron. Michael, they're dropping like flies. We haven't had major impact. Right. It's just been these guys touching. Just a little too much, little damage, nothing
Feeling
big.
Comfortable and just hanging it on the ragged edge. Costs Alex Barron to pit lane. Was up in the top 5, fell back in the top 5, and to the bottom of the running order he goes.
Let's have a look at the top 10. We've got 11.5 minutes remaining.
Oh, we got a great battle. Looks like Fraga and Dupal going into turn number 10. Looks to the inside.
That was nice. Great move to the inside. Book it. He gets through. Fantastic pass there. And that was one of the ones I've always said before. You go into the corner, you own the apex, you own the exit. That's what he did. He drove into the inside and took the exit.
Igor Fraga around Kyle Dupal. Now Bruno Tomaselli next in the sights for Igor Fraga. The battle will be for 7th and 8th. But he lost a lot of time getting around Dupal. Fraga's about a 9-car length gap behind he and Tomaselli.
Well, the one thing about that, Michael, as you know, you dive into that corner that deep, you're totally sacrificing the exit speed. You just don't have that. You can't get back on the throttle early enough. You got to get it turned before you're back on the throttle. That allowed Bruno Tomaselli to pull out a bit of a gap. I'll give it up for Tomaselli. She's running 7th. That's, last year, tough year for her. Was near the tail of the field most of the year, getting the feel for these race cars. But she has been absolutely tremendous here today. A good run for Bruna. The Brazilian driver, the number 82 machine for Team Pelfrey, all in this year with Pelfrey. Here's your top 10. Kirkwood leading now by 5.7 seconds. Jose Sierra running in second. Darren Keene in 3rd. Calvin Ming in 4th. Julian Vanderwatt in the 5th spot. Colin Kaminsky in 6th. Bruno Tomaselli 7th. Igor Fraga now up to 8th. 9th, Kyle Dupal. 10th is Rasmus Flint. 11th is Mateus Solar Oval. 12th, Kalen Frederick. 13 to 15, Lucas Cole, Keith Donegan, and Sabra Cook. So both of our young ladies in the field running in the top 15.
Well, it would be nice if Jose Sierra can catch up to his teammate. He and Corey Anders. Corey separating he and leader Kyle Kirkwood. So if Jose Sierra can catch back up to him, he'll be able to get around relatively easy, one would think, because Corey Anders will allow him to get around. Kyle Kirkwood with a huge gap. Last time for Bruna Tomaselli, she has about 1.7 second gap between she and Igor Fraga.
Fraga about 0.3 of a second quicker last time by, only 9 minutes to go. Tomaselli putting in good laps. And really, you know what? We expected Kirkwood to be good. Sierra was really strong in his debut at Toronto last year. Ran Watkins Glen as well. We know his skills. DE Force looks like they're coming on. Darren Keene very fast. We're throwing checkers. checker flag being thrown at start finish. We thought we had 9 minutes on the clock. Not sure what's happening here, but we're going checker flag. 26 minutes of lap time.
Unless our clock.
My clock, it said 8 minutes to go still. I didn't see the white flag. We just got checker flag. That's the race, folks. Kyle Kirkwood with the victory. Jose Sierra in second. Darren Keene in third. Fourth spot is Calvin Ming. 20 laps, I believe, the duration.
Oh,
you
yeah.
and I were looking at the
Right,
times,
right.
not whatever comes first. 20
Whichever
laps, the
comes
duration.
first.
So, wow, it kind of caught us off guard as we were really looking at the time clock. Kyle Kirkwood with the win. What a big one for Kyle Kirkwood, 5.4 seconds. He's trying to follow in the footsteps of his fellow Jupiter, Florida resident, Oliver Askew. Kyle Kirkwood scoring a 5.4 second win. Jose Sierra in second. Darren Keene in third. Calvin Ming fourth. Julian Vanderwatt rounding out your top five. So both Kirkwood, Sierra, and Vanderwatt rookies. Colin Kaminsky, his best finish in USF 2000 competition. He finishes sixth. Bruno Tomaselli in seventh. Igor Fraga eighth. Kyle Dupel ninth. And Rasmus Lint in 10th. We got caught out there. It's 20 laps or the distance of the time.
Is it a lapped race? We normally go on time, and we were so caught up in that, just the passes and just the amount of contact and drivers that were expected to finish in the top 5, top 10. Alex Barron falling to the back, Holden to the back.
Go through the list.
It's amazing to look at the drivers we thought would be battling for the podium. They were battling to see who could be not the first to be the last out. It was just...
I'll tell you what it does. It changes the character of the championship
Sure does.
very, very quickly. You got guys we expected to run for a title. Corey Enders, Alex Barron, Jamie Caroline, all these drivers now on their heels going into race number 2. You can't have another mistake. You got to win a race here.
So first race of the year, first victory lane of the year. It was the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Grand Prix presented by Allied Building Products. We're standing here with our first winner of the year, Kyle Kirkwood. Calling you at the Florida Winter Tour and OGP feels like a long time ago, but how do you feel right now today?
It's awesome coming here, winning our first race of the season here in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 powered by Mazda. It's a bit uncomfortable getting so close to all these walls here at St. Petersburg, but I adapted to it quickly. By the second qualifying, I was running quick times, and yeah, I mean, to come away with the win right now just feels amazing.